Hello, everybody, and welcome back to MVP Baseball 2005. We have another trade on the board here. I know in the last video we just did the trade deadline, but we have another trade, and we're looking to move on from Brendan Harris, who's been spot starting a lot of third base for us this season. We're looking to get a few prospects, single-A prospects, from the Cardinals. They both got a little bit of age on them, but they've put up some decent numbers so far in their minor league season. So I figured if we could just kind of load the system a little bit with a couple more pitching prospects and offload a major league player that we're really not going to use long term, then that would be a good move for us. So that's what I did. Now, moving on ahead here, we are in the month of August. However, the game we will be watching is the last game of July, since on the 31st we start our series with the Cardinals. That is, of course, going to carry into August. And this is a very important series for us, since the Cardinals are not only very good, but they're defending World Series champs. I mean, you know what I mean? So we really could find ourselves in a tough spot heading into August if we struggle in this game here, but we could also really set the tone as far as the playoff picture is concerned in the National League if we manage to win this game, or win the series more so. So Juan Uribe, in the bottom of the fourth with one out, lines this one to short here, but Wes King cannot field it cleanly, and he gets to throw to first a little bit too late here, and Matt Holliday cannot get the tag in time. You see Wes King that one came off the bat. I mean, there's just pure power on that one, and Matt Holliday unable to get the out at first. And so now we are going to, manager's mad. Coach is mad, bro. He's mad. I haven't seen a lot of these arguments here, but it didn't really say he got ejected or anything here. Very interesting little cutscene, but I figured I'd include it. I forgot that he just came out and just got mad like that, but he did. So, and now Jim Edmonds for the Cardinals here with a man on first, just one out away, and he's going to line this one over to center field. And that is going to extend Uribe all the way out to third. And so now with runners in the corners for the Cardinals, the Nationals find themselves in a bit of a jam here in the fourth inning. And we were already talking at the beginning of this video about needing to pick up some wins against the Cardinals. And already we held strong here for the first few innings, but now the Cardinals are looking to are threatening. Now Larry Walker with runners in the corners. One swing of the bat, and this one is long gone. That one, that was one of those kind of hits where the outfielders barely even move, man. They just watch that baby go as Larry Walker absolutely sends this one into orbit into Old Busch Stadium, man. That one is just absolutely, I haven't seen a home run, opposing or otherwise, just absolutely hammered like that. We've seen some good home runs off the bat before, in this series, but that one is just, I don't know if I've seen a towering shot as crazy as that one. So here's the big shock too, man. Woody Cordero, our top prospect, up to bat today, and he gets himself a base hit in his first game starting at the major league level here, as he's going to get to first base with a single up the middle. Send it back to the pitcher. That one's going to dribble up the middle. We will take that. But yeah, we brought up Woody Cordero, and we also brought up our top pitching prospect because we made space for them with that with the Bennett trade, or with the Brendan Harris trade. So Jose Vidro now 0 for 3 in this game here in the top of the 8th with Woody Cordero on first. And Jose Vidro, a towering fly ball. It's got some carry. It's going to carry to the wall. And that one just bounces a few feet above the glove. Oh, I think Larry Walker, was over there. And he tried to make the home run saving grab. Look how close this is on the replay, man. That ball got pretty darn close to being caught. I would have lost my mind if it was, though, but just barely bouncing off the wall to count for that home run. The Cardinals had that massive wall there. It's not necessarily for any competitive advantage for the Cardinals. I think it's just kind of a carryover from the days of having the Cardinals also play in Busch Stadium. But the Cardinals are going to go to their pen here, and apologies for the quality. I don't know why my video was kind of stroking out like that, But anyway, Wes King here up to bat now, one out. He's going to bounce this one into center field. So the Cardinals now have switched pitchers here in the 8th inning, but the rally continues, only down a single run. We just need to score, just to get a couple guys on, and just get a couple guys across, and we'll be okay. So Jose Guillen grounds one over to left field, and now we got ourselves a situation, folks. Ladies and germs, we got ourselves a situation as the Nationals have put 2 aboard here in the 8th inning. And one really good swing could potentially tie this game. So that's what we're going to be looking for. And we have the power in the lineup to do it. and Andy Chavez might be the guy to do it for us here. So he's 0 for 2 in this game with a walk here in at the top of the eighth. You're already down to the count 0-1, and Andy Chavez is going to line this one back up the middle. The pitcher can't make a play on the ball, and it looks like the lead runner is going to try and get home, and he is, as the throw home to Molina is not going to be on a line. And so Wes King is going to score the tying run. And now Brian Schneider, the catcher here, 0 for 3 in this game here with 2 aboard and a 1-2 count, has a chance to tie it. And he's going to line this one over into left field, and that's going to get the bases loaded. And the Nationals are going to maybe threaten. Oh, we're looking to threaten sending home the lead guy. But I think it would have been Jose Guillen. So Jose Guillen, they were threatening to send home, but I don't think Jose Guillen nearly had the speed. Maybe that was Andy Chavez heading to third instead of second. Maybe we could have tried to threaten that, but Nationals were smart here. So looking in the pen here, Luis Segala, of course, is warming up here because we're going to need him big time to try and close this game out. And Matt Holliday is going to step up to bat, and the Cardinals are considering maybe going to their pen here as this eighth inning is kind of getting out of hand. And now we have Travis Harper, our newly acquired pitcher, is on deck here. So if Matt Holliday can't get nothing done here, the inning might be over. And Holliday blips this one into right field, and that's going to score 1 run, and then it's going to score another run as the Cardinals go to third instead of trying to go to home. And so the Nationals are going to squeeze 2 runs out of this hit, out of this very weak blooper into right field. Matt Holliday, I'm sure we'll take that. I don't know why the Cardinals defense was looking to go third. Obviously, we know Andy Chavez was going to get there from the get-go here, but Brian Schneider also kind of legs it home. Very, very interesting. So we move ahead now to Alex Rios here in the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs away, and Urbina gets the pitch, and this is a towering fly ball out to the wall, and Guillen makes an amazing catch on the run. I don't think that one would have left the yard anyway, but just an amazing catch. I think at the most it would have been just a really nice double. But Guillen manages to make an amazing, spectacular grab. Urbina closes the game out. We grab a huge win in the first game of this series in St. Louis. So let's get into the rest of the month here and really see how we fared. All right, we are back in the hub world now following our game. Technically, it was the last game of July, so we never even really looked at a game from this month. But as you can see from the month of August, things went pretty well. So it's our 3rd straight month playing over 500 baseball. The last time we had a month under 500, which was a game under 500, was in the month of May. So every month we've been above 500. It's a good mark to hit, man, especially, considering what we are trying to do for the season, right? You know what I mean? What the goals are. And if you look over this month, man, how things kind of went, it's interesting. We didn't lose on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, but there were a lot of streaky performances throughout the month. Things didn't really go well in this Cardinals series. After that one win, we win game 1 here on the 31st, and then would drop the next 2 games against probably the hottest team, maybe in baseball, but definitely in the National League for sure. The Astros would also give us all that we could handle here. We did manage to steal this first series, but the second series was just an absolute disaster from every possible angle. But we did play well. We played well against the Giants, who's another kind of playoff hopeful team here, trying to keep themselves in the wild card race potentially here. We played well. I think it's the Dodgers. We had a 4-game set that we split with the Dodgers. It's hard to tell with the calendar. I don't know why they did it like this, but whatever. we took the series against the Cubs. We also took a series against the Padres as well. So it was a decent month here. We did a lot of good things here in the month of August to keep ourselves in the race. I'm very excited to show you guys the standings because, oh boy. But now let's do the best part, I guess. Maybe it is the best part or it's the worst part. I don't know. But we're going to look over our stats. Because as you saw, we made a trade here at the start of this video, of course, as well as the trades we made in the deadline video. So the team is looking a little different now. So Christian Guzman continues his tear, man. He was really hot after the month of July, and he just continues to be hot in the month of August, man. So his average is now well over 300. He's hitting super, super well, and we need that from our leadoff guy. This is what he should have been last year, and he wasn't. So it's great to see him kind of back to that form here, really producing. And 14 home runs from our leadoff shortstop. You gotta love it. He's been playing a lot at third, though, so hopefully it's not hampering his defensive numbers too much. Probably is, but either way. Andy Chavez now, he's continuing to cool off. He had cooled off a little bit after July and is still continuing to do so, but it's the same story at the end of July, man. His numbers are still really great on the season, so I'm not super worried about it, but, it is something to consider, something to look at, so. Jose Guillen, on the other hand, he is hitting about the same. I think he was at 299 in the last video, and now he's at 300. So also his OBP and slug is about the same too. He did hit 100 RBIs on the season, so he's sitting firmly at 100. I think he was at 80 in the last video, so he is doing it very, very well. He's still our hottest or heaviest hitter, I should say, because he's got the freaking power, man. So JD Corey continues to slip a little bit. We might be entering territory, not bench territory, but just, we might want to give him a month or a few series to kind of just sit on the bench here and maybe just think about himself, think about what kind of hitter he wants to be. But he's still hitting for a lot of power, man. He's still generating a lot of extra base hits and still hitting for power. So it's just his average that's continuing to slip. He's just not hitting as consistently, which at 272 average, a lot of people would still absolutely take with the OPS, of course, where it is as well. But, with JD Corey, we know where he can be, man. Last year, he was hitting well over 300 after the month and a half that he had. So, it's disappointing to see him slip to 272, but we'll hold out hope here. He's still, the outfield guy that we want to keep. So Wes King is also hitting about the same. He was at 324 last month, and he's at 323 now. He's also hitting for power as well. 16 home runs. We're getting a lot of power throughout the entire lineup, which is something that we didn't really have in the last season or the year before. But this year, dude, we've got like 4 or 5 guys in our lineup all hitting double-digit home runs. It's absolutely insane. There's a stretch goal for 2 guys to hit 15 or more home runs, and we've absolutely nailed it. We've got like 5 guys who are doing it. So absolutely crazy. Nate Bruce is now in here in the starting lineup on this screen here. I don't think he starts every day, but we've started him a little bit more for off days for some of our outfielders, and he's hit, got a few more hits here, but still not a ton to look into. Brian Schneider has cooled off a bit. I think he was hitting well over 270 last month, but he's still doing well for himself, hitting that 15 home run mark, which is great to see. Just holding down that starting catching position, just like we kind of need him to do. Matt Holliday, man, staying on your freaking head. Matt Holliday had himself an amazing August, thrusted himself back into the starting conversation. He said, "Coach, don't worry about it. I am that guy." And he's providing the offense that we kind of signed him and brought him here to provide, and he's absolutely showed up in the month of August. So great to see from Matt Holliday, and as we get down the stretch here into the final month of the season, where all these games are going to be super freaking crucial, it's great to see him hitting as well as he is right now. And then at the bottom here, Jose Vidro, he has cooled off as well, but dude, when you're hitting as well as Jose Vidro is, I am not concerned. A slug over 500, still hitting close to 350, you can slump, my brother, you can slump. It is okay. We will take that. So going to look over Will Cordero and Ivan Vucarino. These guys really didn't play really at all this month. They didn't hardly play, so not going to really look at them at all. Brian Boskin here, just, still backup catcher, not doing great, but, he's just the backup catcher, nothing really to worry about. And then Woody Cordero, the big thing. We brought up our top prospect in Woody Cordero, the first-round pick of our first ever draft. He hasn't done super well in his limited sample size. He's gotten in some games, at third for some off days for Guzman or Vidra or whatever. And then, of course, spot started in the outfield a little bit. But he's not playing every day. He's only had a few doses of bigs, so that's probably where he's going to sit. He's just going to be a bench guy maybe, and then hopefully next year, depending on how the roster looks, there might be an open spot for him to get in and play every day potentially. But that is how the offense is shaping up, my ladies and germs. So moving on to the pitching side of things. So pitching is really a tale of two sides. So when I originally played the month of August, dude, I was ready to just tear into everybody, but by the end of it, things didn't actually turn out that bad. So, it really is a tale of two sides here, two cities. But with the pitching side of things, it's the tale of the rotation versus the bullpen. Our rotation actually pitched fairly well this month, and the bullpen really regressed. So that's kind of where the problems lie. So looking at CC Sabathia, his ERA falls a little bit here. He got a lot of work in this month. I think he had another complete game, and the ERA was in the 4.6s. Now it's in the 4.3s. So he's had a decent month here. Obviously, for the money and the kind of guy he is, you want it a lot lower. But as long as he's not just ballooning and giving up 6 runs a start, I can survive with that. So Michael Grace, of course, or Mike Grace, be a little bit more informal. He in his first 30 innings of pitching in the bigs, he's got an ERA at 4. The walk numbers are pretty high, but he's been all right. He's been decent here. Just kind of trying to limit the innings here, 4 or 5 innings here or there. And if he's giving up 3 or 4 runs, I try and pull him. But he's been pretty consistently in that lane. So we'll see how long he holds in the rotation here. I still like him as a prospect, and I'd like to at least give him a few more starts here. Maybe as we get in towards the end of September, in a real playoff push, he might not be a guy that we're relying on as much anymore. But he's fine for now. He was fine in August. So Casey Fossum had a great month, probably the best month of our whole rotation. I think his ERA falls a little bit, and he pitches I think like 30 innings. Man, he was good. He was good this month. We needed a lot from Casey Fossum, and he provided quite a bit. So happy to see that. Tony Armas Jr. has another bad month, man. I think I said last video it's kind of back and forth with him. It just kind of is the thing with him, and. Yeah, that absolutely was the case this month. His ERA balloons back over 4. It's a 4.5 now. Just, not great, but, it is what it is. It's Tony Armas Jr. We know exactly what to get from him. And then Sun Woo Kim, it just kind of being Sun Woo Kim. Not much to say there. I think his ERA is down a little bit. I think it was at a 4.83. Now it's at a 4.71. So he did have a decent month, but still not a whole lot to really talk about or mention. So when it comes to him, he's still just Sun Woo Kim. Looking at the bullpen, though, Jeff Bennett has a little bit rougher of a month here. He was in the mid-2s, I think, or low 2s, and now he's in the low 3s. So ERA up an entire run from last month. Not great. Seth Griesinger also had a really terrible month. He was in the 2s, and now his ERA is over 3. And then moving on to John Rauch. John Rauch had a similar month. I think he made a couple starts, and then I moved in Mike Grace. I think we had injuries and stuff, or suspensions, I think is what it was. I think I had a big suspension that cost us some starts, but either way, John Rauch, I think he was in a 3.3, now he's at a 3.6, so he's done okay this month. And then, of course, Travis Harper, our new acquisition, has been pretty good for us as well. His ERA, I think, was in the 2s when we got him from Tampa, but he's still pitching, 3 ERA. I've been able to use him multiple innings. I've been able to use him in higher leverage, lower leverage. He's been kind of an everyman. It's just good to have a nice major league reliever just solidified in our pen that we can rely on. Claudio Vargas, I don't know if I used it all this month. I really don't know. He might have went out and pitched a couple innings. I really don't know. There's just not much of a use for specifically a Claudio Vargas. He just has never been good for this team. He continues to not be good for this team. And, there's just no situation in which Claudio Vargas is ever really helping anything. I got to be honest about it. Luis Ayala continues to get those numbers a little bit down. Both of our high leverage guys kind of had a similar month where they're just kind of slowly but surely getting those numbers back down to where we're used to seeing them. It was a decent month for Luis Ayala. I didn't have to worry too much. I don't have a specific memory of him blowing games, so I guess that's a really good month for him. Same with Ugueth Urbina. I think he might have blown a game, but either way, in totality of a month, he was pretty good. So I'm not super mad about it, as that ERA is climbing lower and lower the longer the season goes on. But it looks like at this rate, by the end of September, he probably still will have like a high 3 or low 4 ERA, which is not good. So I mean, it's good, it's fine, but for a closer, especially where he was at last year, you definitely want a little bit more from him than that. So, finally, we're going to move on to, hold on, just bear with me here. Bear with me. We're going to move into the standings. That's the big thing I want to show you guys. The standings. There's something about the standings. Before I hit X, there's something about the standings that I don't think you'll be prepared for. Ladies and germs, your Washington Nationals are currently first in the NL East. Can you believe it? We hold first place. Heading into September, we are first place in the NL East. I can't freaking believe that, man. And not only are we first, but we have a 1.5 game lead over the Braves behind us. Now, the series that we're about to play in September, I think, is against the Braves. So that's going to be massive, humongous. It's going to be must-watch TV because that's probably going to be for first place in the East. And as you can tell from the wild card race, it's not even necessarily a race for first or wild card because the Pirates currently hold the wild card. So whichever team manages or doesn't manage to win that series probably is just going to be out of the playoff picture, as it stands. But obviously we have the rest of the month to climb our way back into it if we were to lose, which I don't plan on losing because we definitely need to win that series, man. We need to. The Marlins aren't super far behind here, but 3.5 games out, and then the Phillies and Mets are kind of just hanging on by a thread, but I don't really see a whole lot of hope for them. But I'm just trying to talk myself into a playoff spot already, man. I really want a division title. You have no idea how badly I want to win this division, man, especially after last year. But anyway, moving on to the American League. In the Western Division, the Angels are holding on to a lead in the West here, about 8 games or 9 games over 500. And then the A's are just behind them, just 2 games behind here, a few games over 500, and the Rangers aren't too far either, and the Mariners are completely out of it, having a disaster season. In the AL Central, the Twins are holding on to first place firmly with a handful of game lead over the Royals, who are kind of on a tear right now. They are on a 6-game win streak, so they were in probably a much worse spot here. They were probably about 10 games out from the Twins. But they've now thrown their hat back into the division race. Probably won't get there unless they have a monster September, but they had a monster August, so who knows, man. But the Indians, Tigers, and White Sox are all just kind of out of it. It makes that Tigers World Series seem even more distant now. I have no idea how they managed to win it because they've been bad the last 2 years. I don't know what happened. But in the AL East, the Red Sox still having a great year. The division's basically theirs. I don't know how many more games, what their magic number is to get in a division title, because they are essentially it, man. I don't know who. They might need to win maybe like 6 of their first 10 games in the month of September, and they'll probably hold on to it. So, but yeah, that's the Red Sox. that's yeah. And everyone else. There's not even worth talking about. I don't even think, there's no one even in the AL East that's even in the wild card conversation. I guess that win streak by the Royals really put them in the playoff spot because of the wild card berth. So yeah, it was good for the Royals. I'll give credit to them. But anyway, so the NL West now, the Giants are holding on to the NL West title currently as it stands, holding on first place at least. And remember, we beat them in this month. We won the series against them, so that was a huge series win. I thought the Giants were struggling a little bit more than they were, but I guess they weren't. So, and then the Dodgers are sitting behind them, just a game and a half behind. So the Dodgers are still in there. But then after that, it's kind of a steep fall off here as you get to the Diamondbacks, Rockies, and Padres, who are all kind of out of it. So Padres having a really down year. But yeah, it's the Giants and Dodgers. It's a race between them. And then in the loaded NL Central, man, the Cardinals still holding on to first place here, but the Pirates have caught up to them quite a bit, just now under a handful of games. Cardinals are on a massive win streak, which has really kind of helped pad that lead for the division, for first place in the division. But the Pirates are not—they're not sleeping, man. They're right behind them. They're hot on the tails. But then after that, it's pretty much done. The Astros, Cubs, Brewers, and Reds all pretty much out of it entirely. So that is how the National League is shaping up. So we really got to watch out for the Braves, man. That's really it. So if we look out for the Braves, and keep our heads about us, then yeah. So anyway, moving into September now, here is, this is for all the marbles, baby. So we have 6 games, well, I guess technically, because I already played the first game of this Braves series at the end of August, because it was on the 31st. So we have the last 2 games of that Braves series, and then we have another 3 games set in Atlanta against the Braves. That'll be our last 3 games against the Braves all year. And between those 2 series, that could probably very easily decide the division for us. It could, but I don't want to write off the Marlins because the Marlins, those 7 games that we have now in September against the Marlins, if we play poorly in those 7 games, they could easily climb back into this thing, man, easily. So they're only, I think, a handful of games out for the wild card. So, they're going to be playing for everything in these 2 series. So I'm not sure which one we'll showcase because, there's a lot of important games in September that we got to play. We also have this road series in Wrigley, playing the Cubs, which is interesting, but the Cubs are kind of out of it, so this should be an easy winnable series for us. If we're going to get one in September, it's got to be that. And then we also have 6 games against the Phillies this month as well. It's all division games. That's what September's are. We just have to wrap up our division series against all of our division rivals. So we have 6 games against the Phillies. We got 5 games against the Mets. And then this probably carries over into October. Yeah, so the last game of our season is on the 30th of September. Well, yeah, the 30th of September, so it's not on the screen for some reason, but it's going to be in the month, not in the month of October, still September, but you get it. You get what I'm saying. Either way. But yeah, so that's going to be it. So it's just playing division games. So we'll see where we're at in terms of managing the games and stuff, and I'll see what should be recorded and what shouldn't be. But this is going to be a loaded September, man. We are so close to being able to get into a playoff spot. We need to have a great September, man. We had a terrible September last year, and that really torpedoed our playoff chances. But this month, man, everything is on this. So we really got to play well against the Braves, and we have to play well against the Marlins. I think we can afford to slip a little bit against the Phillies and Mets, but if we do well against the Braves and Marlins, I think we'll be okay. So that's really how we're going to look at this moving ahead. So when we come back next week, we will, of course, cover the September, the end of year 3, essentially, unless we get into the postseason, of course. And I think maybe New Orleans might go to the postseason in AAA. They might. They're doing well. I know their overall record. It's pretty similar to ours. I think they're a good 10 or so games over 500. So. But either way, so we will get to that in the next video. So thank you all for watching, and hope to see you guys in the next one.